TikTok, it might be banned in America.
Yeah,
What do
I've
you
been
guys
Canada
watching
too,
all
right?
those.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Probably if America does it, then
We
we're
just
gonna
follow where the
do it.
fuck America does.
Basically 51st state.
Yeah.
I think that's what they have 50 states, right?
Yeah.
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 the
Yeah,
50
but
50
what is
states.
it? What is it
Technically,
that
50.
TikTok is actually doing wrong? Like, is it just because the amount of access of data they have? Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, and I think it's not even like the amount of data, because I'm sure back in the day, Facebook also harvested similar amounts of data. I think the concern is like China isn't known for having independent companies, right? Like Jack Ma, is
Oh
he
yeah,
still
he
alive?
actually showed. He actually showed up. He actually showed up in China.
Actually,
Yeah,
Is he still?
yeah,
He's
yeah.
still
Because
alive? Okay, but
Alibaba is splitting their
to 7
splitting into 6 different
or
groups,
6.
separate companies, and then within that article that was reading, it's like, oh, Jack Ma finally popped up in China after a 2-year hiatus or some shit. I was like, oh, okay.
they're like, all right, Jack, it's time to get out of prison. We need you to sign this thing in front of cameras, then
Yeah.
you're going right back
Back
in.
to that luxurious hotel. Jeez, it's crazy. Like you're right. Like that's what it is. Is like they have too much power. The government itself will have too much power in directing TikTok and things along those lines. So it's like the America doesn't want that much influence of a foreign power, right? And before it used to be somebody said this. They're like it was warfare with like guns and things like that. Now it's warfare of addiction, right? They're getting
Yeah,
all of our youth and people in general addicted to certain things and addicted to TikTok, and then also presenting information that's actually making them dumber, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Which
Yeah, if I'm gonna take the American government side, which is very disgusting, like I apologize, but I think like I don't know, the CIA, the FBI, whatever branches of government or institutions saw what kind of damage like COVID misinformation caused, what kind of like Russian propaganda that was spread back in like 2014, 2015. And that's through like a private company that is only incentivized by money, right? And even then, like Facebook had some sort of guarding on what they shared and what users or what these things could do. And look at the damage and
reach.
like I guess not even damage, like reach that they had. Now put that in the hands of a directed government that has very different ethics and morals as you do. Like they probably saw the danger and like we have to stop this now, otherwise like
Yeah.
it'll just destroy us.
It's like playing 4D chess, right? They're playing at a different level that we had even like planned for, right? Because war of like forever since like till today has always been kind of direct impact to humans at a physical level, right? So be it bio warfare or even like just direct contact with guns, etc. Right? That's the type. I guess there's cyber warfare, but it's like it leads to taking down systems so that we can actually attack you physically. And now it's a mental warfare that I think hasn't been done before or at a level of this scale. And looking at generations to come, right? So it's not even like, oh, we're going to affect them now and then we'll attack. It's like we're going to affect them so much that in like 10, 15 years, they're not going to be able to compete with us, right? That's a whole different level of warfare that I hadn't even processed. When I heard that, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. We're back to a Cold War 2.0. It's going to be interesting next couple of years, especially since I guess China's losing access to like advanced chip manufacturing or even having access to those chips. So you're going to start seeing like very parallel like streams of technology coming out of China. China, I guess to an extent, China, Russia,
Yeah,
probably Iran.
It's crazy. There's so many moving pieces now, right? There's like the Russia-Ukraine war. There's Taiwan, right?
Yeah.
China and Taiwan. Then there's like England's not doing so well, right? There's kind of the very divisive split in America and the politics there, right? It's a lot of even Iran, the protests, etc. There's a lot going on all at the same time, and maybe it's like this was always happening, and we just didn't have access to the information to these countries, but now we do. But
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't happening, and due to the advancement of technology, it allows it to progress quicker. Maybe that's it, and so
I think a
Yeah, it's
piece
like
of
chicken and egg.
information. I
It's like
agree
the chicken and
definitely
egg
before
problem.
there wasn't that communication. But I also feel like just we are more involved now, or like more aware of what's going on in the world.
Because of technology, though.
I think like you.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, because of that, and also just like as an age thing, or like when you were in university, were you like really reading the news, world news and stuff like that, and what's
But we
happening all
weren't
around the world?
exposed to it like that too. Like social media just came into being when we were in high school, university. Like, Facebook just became a thing in high school. And that's when we started getting exposed little by little. But you look at kids now,
Yeah,
like
that's
my
fair.
own brother, the stuff he's exposed to, I wasn't exposed to at his age, or even when he was in his teen years. You know what I mean? I think I'm lagging, right?
A
No,
bit.
no, we're
Oh,
yeah,
good.
no
maybe I
problem.
was lagging. But I think it's both best of both worlds, where it's like we are more aware just because we have like literally a pocket computer giving us news by the minute, but also because I think like things are happening more in this decade or the last few years than they have happened in the last decades, right? Like, I don't know, between 2000, the year 2000 and 2020, what was like the biggest life defining moments, right? And I think you can name a few, like
Yeah,
obviously 9/11, um,
Yeah.
financial
iPhone.
crisis, uh, iPhone, war in Ukraine, the first war in Ukraine in like 2014, but then like 20 since 2019 we've had like a billion life changing events like COVID, um, the following crash, the second war in Ukraine. Like a bunch of these things are happening
Yeah.
so rapidly, like it feels like a
Mm,
dam
yeah.
burst.
Agreed. It's like there is a lot happening. And I always wondered if you're able to like kind of play this on like a chess piece thing, like figure out incentives, align everything, and see if you can figure out what the world will be like in a year or 2 years. But I feel like there's too many variables for it to ever kind of figuring it out. Um,
Chat GPT.
Oh yeah, ChatGPT is a big one. Yeah.
No, can ChatGPT figure out where we'll be next?
It can't. It only has data till like 2021.
oh man,
Yeah.
feeding it live data, that would be freaking next. I'm sure they're
Sure,
trying,
someone is
yeah,
doing
but
that.
it's
Speak.
expensive.
Yeah.
Speaking of AI, did you guys see that open letter petition by Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak wanting to put a pause on AI development for like 6 months just because they think it's uh,
Why?
developing too fast?
So what's 6 months gonna do? I did hear about this, but what is 6 months gonna do?
Yeah.
Are they saying, "Yo, just
That's a
wait
fair.
up for us"?
Yeah.
Yeah, let
Yeah,
us catch
I think
up.
that's what it is, right? It's like, yo, you guys are going too fast. Hold on.
Elon's like, wait, I need 6 months for my other startup to catch up.
Basically, like,
Yeah.
what is that gonna do, right? Andrew, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. New, like NG. No, Andrew NG.
Newsom?
He's like,
Yeah, Andrew knew that's the AI guy.
Oh,
yeah. Excuse me. Yes, the AI guy who um, was kind of one of the pioneers of modern machine learning, I think. And he
Yeah,
said,
yeah. He
he's like,
has
we
a
need,
he has a course on Coursera on Introduction to AI.
yeah. Um,
hmm.
I've checked out that course. Like, I've done a couple of those videos. They're pretty good actually. But he was saying how he replied to one of these guys who signed that open letter, and he's like, "What's that gonna do?" He's like, "6 months. We should actually accelerate research." He's like, first of all, there's not a lot of research being done, but we should accelerate it and concentrate on safety rather than stifling it, right? Let's just change the focus on more responsible AI and safety of AI. He's like, I think that's a better approach. And I agree with him because I feel like you're not going to be able to stop China from developing AI. So you're pausing, but they're not going to be pausing.
Yeah,
That's going to be stupid, right?
yeah,
Same with India. Like all these superpowers are going to be trying to be pushing the envelope of AI. What you want to do is push the envelope of AI, but then also push the side of safety on kind of what are those called, safety rails, or in bowling, guardrails. There you go. Try to
guardrails.
Guardrails.
figure that out. To think. You gotta check out your internet, run. You're always like 3 seconds behind.
Yo,
Um,
it doesn't matter where I
technically,
go, I'm always lagging. It's so fucking annoying.
Come to my house.
yeah, technically, I guess the government behind the scenes is pausing AI development for at least China specifically, because China can't use high end chips
Ooh,
now.
good point. They're indirectly doing it.
That's like the
What do you
yeah,
mean?
that's part of the reason why this is a huge news. Like it's been for months. Like it it's not a sanction. It's just they're not allowed to sell to Chinese companies like the high end chips manufactured by like at TSMC and I guess probably Intel and Nvidia. That like China only has access to like mid tier chips, I think, if even that, and they can only really produce like locally like the very low end tier, which is like I don't know, like 20-year-old process, so like 40 nanometers processes, and none of the like AI specific chipsets that we are seeing. Um, what else? What else was implemented? Oh, right. Americans can't work for Chinese companies in the chip sector either.
Oh,
So like they put out like an executive order, and that day like a bunch of people quit jobs like in at Huawei, Xiaomi,
oh wow! I
all
did
those
not know
kind of
that. So
like
then, why
establishments.
are they
Yeah,
even allowed to run companies in America if they're gonna do that anyways? Aren't there gonna be mainly Americans working in American headquarters? Like
what do
Huawei,
you
they're
mean?
working for Huawei at, like, let's say in Los Angeles, right? They have a headquarters. Huawei has a headquarters in Los Angeles. Let's say, I don't know where it is, but all those people working there are likely American citizens, or like a vast majority of them.
Yeah, but I don't think those are like. I think it's targeting specific sector related to like chip
Yeah, no,
manufacturing.
I get that. So let's just say Huawei. You mentioned Huawei as one of the chip makers. So
Yeah.
basically,
Mhm.
their headquarters in America would essentially cease to exist. Is that what you're saying?
Technically, yeah, like it's not overnight, but I think Huawei and Xiaomi are exiting a bunch of
Interesting.
like countries. Like I don't know about the US specifically, but I don't think they even had that big of a presence in the States. But I there was news about like Xiaomi exiting like a couple of European countries. On top of that, not America, but I think the Netherlands or something. They're also in this pipeline on creating
Hmm.
like high end chips. In that, I think they make an essential part for the machines that make those chips, and they enabled like a ban saying like no Chinese company can buy
Wow.
this set of
Oh,
equipment.
not even. So they're
So they're
essentially
yeah,
preventing even exports to China. Oh wow! So
yeah,
they really want to stifle China's kind of growth. I feel like that's why what's his name, Jinping, right? Damn. Yeah. So he went to
yeah.
Russia recently, and he's like buddy buddy with Putin, clearly, because now he's seeing all these countries in the West essentially um, digging digging deep and saying, okay, we're not going to be supporting this regime. And so he's like, all right, my only ally is Russia. And so that puts the pressure on. Yeah, you're essentially right. What you said before is like going to be a huge long Cold War where Ukraine is the proxy to the West and Russia is the
Hmm.
proxy to China, and related allied countries, and they're just going to fight a war as via conduit of those two countries. That's crazy.
Yep. But yeah, I think specifically for business technology side, you will see like a different breed of products coming out of China, because if they're not having access to like the stuff we rely on, they're going to have to develop something similar or like totally different that like is good in
Mm.
its own way,
But I
right?
heard like Taiwan, the reason it's known for um like I think Mo, you told us this, is like the reason they're known for their chip manufacturing is they've created a process that's very difficult, if not impossible. As in, they have some trade secrets that allows them to develop chips in a way that we don't have the capability to do here in America, or nobody's figured it out yet.
It's not that no one's figured it out. I'm sure like it's not money that's the only issue. I think the issue is that for Taiwan, having this like, I guess, this massive industry that's reliant on one company is like a national security thing.
Mm.
Whereas like they can't, they are building like chip fabs outside of Taiwan. I think they're building them in Texas, but like they're still gonna keep their main plant in Taiwan, be the high, like
Mm.
the latest and greatest, right? Just because it's literally a safety net. But it's also like very hard and very technical to create modern chips. Like it's one of the most hardest
Wow.
manufacturing
Yeah.
problems. So it's not like something you can dump like a $50 billion and have a fab
That's
up and
true.
running tomorrow building. Like
That yeah.
it takes time and
Yeah.
it
So
takes
I
a lot
wondered,
of
like, what's the major issue? Do you think, like,
major issue. Like, dude, you're dealing chips these days. You're dealing with stuff in the
yeah,
nanometer ranges, right? Like 5
right.
nanometers, 3 nanometers. So like, there's a lot of quantum physics. There's a lot of
Mm.
advanced manufacturing involved. Like
Engineering.
it, a lot of precision. Yeah, exactly. It's very engineering intensive, and it's a lot of like niche, like I guess specialties that like not everyone
Right.
is equipped to
Right.
deal with.
That's
Yeah,
yeah.
it's such a like it creates such an advantage for someone who's in the game already. And it's just so challenging for a startup or just some random Joe off the street just starting up their own fabrication company, because it's just so intensive from an engineering standpoint, design standpoint, getting all the machinery for that, and then having your assembly lines. Like I've been in plants here in Canada, not for chips necessarily, but for manufacturing of other chip related items or things that go into computers, and it's crazy the assembly lines that are created
Mhm.
and the amount of engineering that goes into just building those assembly lines. Forget about the actual machinery that's creating some of these, whatever, these plates or boards, even, right? Like the boards, not the chips, the boards where the chips go on to. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Like even something like that, like the PLC boards. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's just it's insane. Like you need a lot of knowledge and intensive execution as well in order to create something